Alright, this is SSLFamilyDad with Simple Suburban Living with another update on the Aquaponics system here. And it's been about 2 weeks since the last update, and I think we've got about 2.5 months total into the system here now, since we've had fish and plants and that in it. And things are still going pretty well. We've been eating the lettuce out of here, trimming this off every couple days. The romaine lettuce and the iceberg lettuce and that butter crunch that we have back here. This is kind of turning into like a head of lettuce back here. Still getting browning on all the edges of the leaves, but it still tastes good, and just kind of cut off the tips of the lettuce and throw it in a salad or sandwich or whatever, and it's been pretty good. So it's growing faster than we can eat it, though. It's the romaine lettuce has gotten pretty tall, and it seems to be getting taller every day. So still growing really well. Tomato plant, I had to add a piece of pipe you'll see sticking out here because the tomato plants grew up a little high and they are too heavy now. So I have to build a support system in place here. That's going to be the next part of the system. I'm going to put a little support trusses on each side so I can run some string through for these tomatoes as they get taller. I'll have to do that here pretty soon so I can support this. And we got a couple flowers in here. Surprisingly, I put one 2700 Kelvin bulb in each of these lights, and not too long later we started getting some flowers. So this cucumber I'm probably going to tear out. It's just not doing well. I don't know if it's just a weak plant or what. It flowered, but the flowers didn't really blossom all the way, and so it didn't really work. That's the cucumber right down there. So a bunch of flowers on there. These green peppers are doing awesome. Still, growing slow, but they're real sturdy plants. I mean, these things won't fall over. They got nice sturdy stems on them. So the other tomatoes are doing good. I tore that big broccoli plant out in the back, and it was all smashed into the corner there, and I just didn't plan it out very well. This one I'll probably have to take out also. I'm going to try to cut all the leaves off in the back and just see if it'll grow forward now that I have more space. It's growing awesome. It's really healthy, but the other one I just had to tear out was just too big. So the oregano in the back's growing really well. I've got some peppers down here. Right at the end of my finger there's a little jalapeno pepper, I think. I've got some banana peppers that I planted in here. There's one down here. A couple more banana peppers over here. These little guys right here. They all seem to be doing really well. My bean plant, this is a bush bean, and this thing's got flowers everywhere. So these are self-pollinating, so this should produce some beans here pretty soon. We should start seeing those. Got dill down here and some spinach, and the onions that I threw in are doing good still. These tomato plants are doing really well. And then the pea, if you can see all the way in the back there, that pea plant grew up and all the way up here and all the way up here. So I've got a piece of metal lath going up the wall. I'll just let that grow all the way to the top. I don't see any flowers on anything yet on that, but I might put one of the flowering bulbs or the 2700 Kelvin bulbs in the back of this light and see if it produces or starts to entice that pea plant to flower. So, but everything's growing really well. The tomato plant over here, these tomatoes are still, again, pH is my main issue here. And the leaves are, the end of the leaves you'll see just dry up. But the plant still grows really fast. It's still flowering, and all the top half of the plant is really green. So I may just continue to trim it down and see if it'll produce some tomatoes for us. So fish are doing really well. Haven't had any fish die since the first week of the system. All the goldfish have been doing really good. The water's pretty clear, and they've been happy in here. So lots of goldfish. I'm going to have to build a big goldfish pond outside, I think, for these guys when I get my, I'm going to get some perch to put in here. And I still have the little jumper. He jumped out of the tank. He jumped out of here, landed in here, and he's been living in here ever since. So he helps stirs up the sediment on the bottom of this tank and make sure it stays clean. So I'm leaving him in there. It's gotten a lot bigger, though. But so the kind of the topic of today's update, sorry, you'll hear the chickens in the background. We just bought some chicks, and they're apparently fighting with each other in here. We've got some information on those too, and I've got a chicken coop we're building and stuff. We'll do some updates on those projects as well. But trying to produce as much of our own food as we can here, so we'll get some eggs from those guys. But anyway, on the aquaponic system, pH has been my big issue, and so I've been experimenting with some things, and I'll go into more detail with that now. My pH has been hovering at 8.2 for the last month and a half. It was up above like 8.6, 8.7. I got it down to 8.2, and that seems to be about the bottom of it. And so I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Is it the hard water I'm using? Because I have well water here that's using an unsoftened well water. I've got that automatic topper offer in the bottom there, so whenever the water level drops below, it tops the system off with a little bit of water. The hard water I know has a lot of carbonates in it. It's going to cause the pH to buffer, which means, it's going to take a lot to raise it or lower it. So I've been trying different things. I bought some phosphoric acid, some pH down solution that was just specifically designed for aquaponics. Has phosphate in it. It was supposed to be good for the plants and everything. I put like a whole bottle of that stuff in here. pH went down. A few days later, it goes back up. Put more in. pH goes down. A few days later, it comes back up. I have been able to use a lot of vinegar, just regular distilled vinegar. I've added that, and I just dump it into this little makeshift extra tank I have over here now that I'm using to collect sediment right now, and I just dump it in here, stir it around, and that has been lowering the pH very well, and I definitely would recommend and say that you could safely use that in your system. The vinegar worked very well. It's very cheap, and there's other minerals in that in vinegar. It's basically acetic acid. Usually like 5% acetic acid is what you get out of your household distilled vinegar. So but yeah, I mean, the vinegar worked really well to lower the pH, but again, it's buffering right back. So I'll put a bunch of vinegar in, like a cup of vinegar in the system. pH, I'll test it a few hours later. It'll be down like 7.6, 7.5, kind of closer to where I want it. And then the next day, it's back up to 8.2. And so I'm trying to figure out what exactly the problem is here and what we're going to do going forward to correct it. Most of the plants are not going to grow really well at anything over 7.5. They're obviously growing, but as far as fruit production goes, and when you start to get into how healthy the plants are and how healthy the vegetables are going to be that we're going to get out of it, you want the plants to be able to absorb as much nutrients as possible out of the system. So phosphorus and iron and other things that these plants need, they're almost not available at the pH over 7.5 or 8. So I think it's over 8, they're almost not available. So I'm going to do a few tests and experiments here and try to figure out what we need to do going forward. And the next episode I'm going to do is going to be focused more on pH and what it is, what it's all about, why it's important, how plants absorb nutrients, and what types of plants grow better or worse in different pH conditions. So, but I'm going to take you upstairs and we're going to do a couple tests on some of the grow media that we're using in the water and just kind of see what we should do to move forward with the system and make it run better. Okay, so we're going to do a couple tests here on the water and the rocks that we're using just to kind of figure out exactly what is causing the pH buffering. And we're also going to test adding some vinegar to the different types of water that we have here and see what effect that has. So I have Kayla from SSLFamilyDad channel over here to help me out. And so the first thing we're going to do is just get a pH reading on our soft water, which we have a water softener here in the house that takes a lot of the mineral content and that out of our water since we have hard well water. And so we're going to do a pH test on the soft water first. And then I also have some hard water here, which is just the water straight out of our well that hasn't gone through our water softener. That's the water that I currently have in the Aquaponics system. So we're going to test the pH of that and see if it's any different. And we're also going to do the vinegar test on our unwashed rock to see if maybe I didn't wash the rock real well and we've got some dirt and other materials in there that's buffering the pH. And then we're going to do a test on the washed rock and see if we get any reaction. So what we're going to use for that test is just some cleaning vinegar, and we'll just do the standard bubble test. So if we get bubbles on these, then we know that there's some type of basic material in there. We're going to be using our API freshwater master test kit to test the pH here. So we have our regular low-range pH test solution. So we should be over here on this color scale when we test the pH. So we're going to go ahead and get the vials filled up here, and then we'll go ahead and do that pH test first. Okay, so I went ahead and we have our vials ready to do the pH test, and then we also have, I put some vinegar in here with our river rock. And while I'm discussing this, Kayla's going to go ahead and put the 3 drops of the pH tester solution into each of those vials and get those ready for us. So what I'm seeing here is actually kind of bad news in a way. This is the unwashed rock that I added the vinegar to, and this thing is bubbling like crazy. It's just foaming everywhere, and I have a feeling that has a lot to do with obviously all the dirt that's in there that came with those rocks. So that is bubbling a lot. So that means we've got a lot of carbonates in there, a lot of basic material that was on those rocks or coating those rocks in the bag. So that's going to be bad if we don't wash the rocks real good before we put them in the system, which is probably what I did. If you haven't seen the video where I initially put the rocks in the aquaponic system, I'll throw a link up to that video, but it was very cold outside and I didn't do a very good job washing the rocks, so that could be part of my problem. I'm also seeing here this river rock, it still is having, there's definitely a reaction here. So some of these rocks I've noticed has some like conglomerate almost kind of stuck to them, and I'm seeing a lot of that kind of fizzing up in these. So no matter what I do, and no matter how, and I washed these rocks really well, is about as good as you can wash them, and it's still bubbling. So probably this may not have been the best choice for my media here in the grow beds. I'm gonna let this sit with the vinegar solution in here for maybe a few days, and we'll see if it's just a little bit of topical stuff on the rock that will actually burn off, or if it's something that something more the rock itself that's actually bubbling up here. We'll see if it's something that I think I can kind of manage by adding some vinegar or other acid to the system, if it'll kind of burn off any of the carbonates on the rock, or if I just need to change the rocks out completely. So, but the dirty one definitely is really bad. So we know that's definitely affecting the system, and I think this is as well. So also the water could be an issue here. So I've got hard water coming into our system right now. So let's just see. Go ahead and turn these over for me, Kayla. So let's see if there's any pH difference in these. Okay, go ahead and set them both. Yep, that's fine. You can hold it down just like that.
The same.
They're almost identical. So no pH difference in the hard water versus the soft water. So they're both looking like
this one.
Yeah, it might even be, that water might even be in the high range. I'd have to do another test on that to see if it's actually in the high range of pH. But so the water right out of our tap here is definitely on the basic side, so it's about 7.6 or higher. So that tells me also that, again, the water that we have here is not that great, so it would need to be treated with some type of a pH down solution no matter what to get that pH down. So I'm going to go ahead and next thing I'll do is actually do a few tests on the water itself. I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar to this water and see if we can bring that pH down. And I'm going to see if the hard water buffers that pH and makes it makes it bounce back any differently. I'm going to add the same amount of vinegar to both of them with the same amount of water and see if the pH goes up or down differently in the hard versus the soft water. Okay, so I went ahead and added some vinegar to each of the samples of water here. The vinegar I'm using too is a cleaning strength, so it's a little bit stronger than regular distilled vinegar. This is I think it's a 6% vinegar solution, so I think your standard distilled vinegar like you use for cooking and stuff is 5%, so it's a little bit stronger. But anyway, I added 1 ounce of vinegar to the soft water here, and then 1 ounce of vinegar to the hard water, and we're going to do another test here. And you can actually see, I don't know if I can get this focused in enough or not, probably not here, but when we added the vinegar to this, you could actually see it bubbling in the hard water. So it was actually reacting with some of the carbonates in the water. And okay, do you know which one is which there? Okay, good. The one on the right hand side was, yep. Okay, so both of these look like they are, I guess, below 6 now. So our hard water here, definitely, you know, at the 6 or below, and then our soft water here, definitely at the 6 or below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these sit for overnight, and I'm going to go ahead and do another test tomorrow on the pH and see if the carbonates in the hard water buffer the pH back up. So I'll just keep these set aside, and then we'll test that out, and so we'll see how much the hard water actually is affecting the pH in the system. We already know that there's definitely an issue with the grow media that I'm using. So we're still bubbling away over here, and this is that the river rock that was washed, and then this thing is just going nuts with the dirty rock, so it's even worse. So we'll go ahead and let those sit, and tomorrow we'll come back and test the pH on them and see what the difference is. Alright, so we've waited a day here and ran the pH test on our hard and soft water. Basically, as I kind of expected, the results are that it really didn't have any effect. So the pH is still the same. It's still at 6 or below for both the hard and the soft water. However, I do think that in this test, I probably can redo this test and just use a couple drops of vinegar instead of an ounce. I think that was way too much to add to this this water anyway, and there's not enough water here. So I do still think the hard water does buffer the pH, but I think in this case I added too much vinegar. So I may have to redo that test to get an accurate result. But I definitely know that the type of rock that you're using as grow media is probably the most effect on the pH. And I'm still seeing some bubbling here in this container, although very, 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 very little. And this water, or the vinegar solution that's in here, is still way below, probably still at about 4 as far as the pH level. So I still might be able to bring the pH down. It just probably will slowly keep rising up. So if I can, you know, keep adding a little bit of pH down solution to the system, I may be able to still bring the pH down to a reasonable level. It's at 8.2 still. I have a feeling that it'll keep buffering back to that. And so the ultimate solution here will be to replace this grow media. And so I'm going to look for some other type of river rock, and I'll test it a little bit more thoroughly. And make sure that there's no rock in it with conglomerate. This type of rock I got, and I can see now it's like coming off, but there's a lot of dirt on here still. Now that it's been in the vinegar for a day, it's coming off, and I have a feeling that has a huge effect on it. There's also some I found in here that have like little shells and stuff kind of stuck in them. It's almost like they're like a fossil or something. So that probably has an effect on it too. So when I originally did the test on this rock, most of these rocks are neutral. There was no, I just grabbed a few of them and I threw them in a jar, and it didn't fizz at all. I thought, oh, this is great. So definitely in a larger scale, larger bin test here, there's definitely some problems with that type of rock. So what I've learned here, I guess, ultimate solution I think is going to be to probably two things. I'm going to focus on growing things in the aquaponics system right now that are doing well in the higher pH, like beans and some of the peppers, and kale's doing real well, and peas and things like that. I'll probably focus on growing those things. And to slowly fix my problem here, I'm probably going to look around for some better grow media, something I can find at a reasonable price, and then we'll go ahead and start slowly replacing the rock with something better. So I'm also going to use to take the hard water out of the equation. I have a water filter, and that's been suggested by a few viewers that I'm going to actually put in line with the system. So I'm going to top it off from now on with filtered water to remove any additional carbonates. So I've already got enough carbonates in the system. I don't need anything else buffering the pH. So I'm going to do that as well, which is a great suggestion. So we'll keep trucking along here, and we'll keep you guys updated on the progress. In a few weeks here, we'll have a few other things. I'm going to build a support system for the tomato plants, and I'm just going to keep letting them grow, and we'll do a few other things to the system. Hopefully I'll get to work on a venturi to get some airflow into the system without using that air pump, and I'm also looking at doing a swirl filter, which is an upcoming project as well. So appreciate you watching today. Hopefully you guys found something useful in the video. If you're setting a system up, hopefully this helped, especially with the grow media. Help save you some trouble down the road. episode. And if you haven't checked out some of the earlier videos where I washed the grow media and did some other things, there's some links here I'll put in the description for you as well. So, but thank you for watching again, and please throw some comments in if you have any suggestions for me. For those of you seasoned guys out there that have done this for a while, throw a suggestion. I'd appreciate it. And other than that, thanks for watching, and have a good one.